TV. Hope you're having a good one. What's good? What's good? What's good? So we've got a lot going on today. What do we have going on today? I know you people are probably trying to figure it all out. So is Asia numb to the antics of the new regime? Their reactions kind of say so. Their reactions actually say so. You have a massive deal between the EU and India, a huge trade agreement that's been in negotiation for 10 years. Yeah, a decade. A decade. And one of the reasons, I can tell you now, one of the reasons why, India wanted to do it is because you can't depend on the United States because of all the immigration laws, the new laws for H-1B visas and all that good stuff. And another place that could see them, replace workers is Europe. So cut a deal with Europe, spread your risk, diminish your risk a little bit. And there you go. But this is a far-reaching deal, and it's got to have the president of the United States kind of choking on it, right? Let me just see something. Control F. Wrong one. All right. I just want to look up something real quick. Control F. Yep. Asia equity markets, including South Korea's Kospi, rose despite Trump's tariff threats because they're just not paying any mind to him whatsoever. Their reaction is, if you're going to do it, do it. If not, shut up. That's really what the reaction is. And you can't blame them because every time you turn around and you hear something about tariffs, well, nothing happens. Something else that somebody keyed in on that I was listening to this morning, I was listening to CNBC and somebody brought up something really special. They were like, 90 deals within the first year or something like that. We've gotten 2. There are 2 trade deals with the United States. All the other deals that they were talking about have not finalized. They have not finalized. So you got 2 deals in all this time. All this hoopla, all this stuff, he's only come up with 2 deals. Again, this is why they're thinking about this. Good morning, Rick Ritchie. Sir, watch out in the market today. Trump is speaking sometime today. And yes, I've invested myself today already. That's my man, Rick Ritchie. So not only is he letting us know that he's invested in himself, he's also letting us know, hey, Trump's going to be speaking today. I knew he was going to be speaking. I think you never know what he's going to talk about because it never stays on script. He never stays focused. And I think that's one of the reasons why Asia's reacting the way they're reacting, because he's never solid about anything. He's never solid about anything. So how do you move when somebody's not solid? You kind of sit there and you're kind of like, who cares? Like, I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, who cares? Yo, good morning, Stanley. Starting to invest in yourself today. That's what's up. That's what I'm talking about. So when I look at all these things, I sit there and I kind of go, we've got 2 deals in the past year. All this tariff talk, and it goes back to manipulation that we've been talking about. All that manipulation has served only one group of people. It's actually been a small group of people. It hasn't been us. And you can only say it's manipulation because every time you open up your mouth and you say tariff this, tariff that, tariff your mama, almost nothing happens. Nothing's happened since the first time you said tariffs, and then everything is just a threat. Everything's just a veiled threat. And people are starting to see him for what he is. He's not closing deals. He's absolutely not closing deals. And one other thing that he's got on his plate that he's going to have to talk about, going to have to discuss, is the whole Minnesota disaster. That's a massive problem. And I'm expecting there to be more fallout than what there has been. But there's also been economic fallout. There were huge protests that shut down businesses. Actually, let me rephrase. Businesses shut down. They paid their employees, but they shut down. And they said, yeah, no, we're shutting down. We're letting you know we don't like this. That's a massive impact on the economy. to the point where you had a lot of businesses, not just from Minnesota, but from around the country, make some phone calls. And I said this a couple of weeks ago. This is what's going to happen. Sadly, it took some huge tragedies to make it happen, but this is what's going on. At some point, the distractions are going to have to stop. People are starting to refocus on where their eyes were before. One of the other issues that are causing this is because there's a huge funding bill, and funding for DHS has been wrapped into that funding bill. That would affect a government shutdown. And right now, they don't want just a change in Minnesota. They want a change at DHS. They want a massive change. And we're not talking one side of the aisle versus the other side of the aisle. We're talking both sides of the aisle. We're talking both sides of the aisle, business, regular people. They want change, and they want it now. And if the government shuts down, you're not going to be able to wag your finger at one party. That's not going to be how it's taken. Changes are necessary, and that's what's going to happen. Grand risings, Fatima. And thank you for letting us know that you invested in yourself, or are investing in yourself. But Rick Ritchie, nail on the head, man. He's going to open up his mouth, and Lord knows what's going to happen. I mean, he was at the World Economic Forum and rambled on for like an hour and a half about a whole bunch of things that had nothing to do with the World Economic Forum. We've got to be mindful of what's going on. Very, very, very mindful. So North Korea-linked hackers are using AI-generated deepfakes and live video calls to trick cryptocurrency developers into installing malware. That's a big deal. Then we've got silver just taking the heck off, and people are like, oh, it's the safety trade. No, it's not. What's the number one electrical conductor on the planet? Silver. What's the newest technology that's coming out using silver? Say it with me now, class. Say it with me. Solid state batteries. Solid state batteries. So is silver going to continue to go up? Yeah, most likely. Most likely. And I'm going to tell you now that there are going to be a lot of people interested in what's going on with that. You have a lot of new technologies that are happening. You have a lot of data centers that are being slated to go up into space. You have a lot going on. And why would you go up into space? Well, unlimited solar power, 24/7, right? I mean, you're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of satellites. Normally, when you look up in the sky, you would used to be able to see stars. Naturally, right now, what you're most likely seeing, sadly enough, what you're most likely seeing is a satellite. Yep, it's a satellite. Makes you stop and wonder, doesn't it? Makes you stop and wonder. You'd have to take out one of those cameras and point it at the sky and see which stars are moving and which stars aren't. Right? Or which points of light aren't. Most likely the ones that are not moving are stars, because stars don't go like that from this perspective. So yeah, there's a lot going on that we should be paying attention to. Sharp Technology revealed its validator partner achieved a 7% annualized return from Solana staking as of January 26. That's pretty good. Let's see, Bitcoin job openings last year rose 6%, non-technical. That ought to tell you where the market is going. That ought to say something about what's going on with this stuff. What else happened? Major League Soccer cut a deal with Polymarket. That's right. I told you I have an issue with the constant gamification of investing. Because that's something where you're literally betting. And I'm just amazed that they're allowed to change the word from betting, gambling to prediction. Prediction? Interesting. I guess because what they're saying is, well, it's kind of like group betting or something like that. So you pay to share your opinion. The gamification of investing is becoming a problem. The gamification of politics is a problem. Now, if you're going to play games or something like that, I'm cool with certain subjects. Other subjects should be like, nope, not doing that. I really do think that's what it boils down to for me. The European Commission initiated a formal investigation on Monday into X's Grok. Why? Elon Musk's answer for Grok doing seemingly illegal pics of women and girls, children, was to remove it from everybody's access and only give it to the people that are paying at a certain level. To say what now? That was your answer? So you didn't fix the problem. You just closed the pool. You just diminished the pool of people that had access to the problem. Yeah, that's why they're investigating him. Yeah, pay attention to that. Pay attention. Mind you, this guy is still the CEO or the big cheese over at SpaceX, and SpaceX is touted to be the largest IPO ever. Largest IPO ever. I will not be taking part. I will absolutely not be taking part. Some people will be like, well, that's silly. Why wouldn't you take part in that? It's a big opportunity. I just don't want to give him my money. It's as simple as that. People are like, oh, it's all about the money and nothing else should matter. Not always. Sometimes your conscience matters. And my conscience would bother me if I gave him my money, and I'm not giving him my money. That's on me. On January 22nd, WhatsApp users from Australia, Mexico, South Africa, and India filed a lawsuit against Meta alleging privacy violations over the app's end-to-end encryption. Meta denied claims that WhatsApp chats are accessible and called the lawsuit frivolous work of fiction. I'm gonna put this as nicely as I can. People have been thinking that Meta's had access to the chats for a long time. For a long time. So that's going to be hard to fight. That's going to be really hard to fight. And there are examples. There are receipts on that point to maybe somebody has access. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. It'll be interesting to see if that spreads to other countries. Telling you, pay attention. Telegram's the other one that people are using, and you see a lot of people moving over to Telegram. And really, you're seeing a lot of people move over to Signal too. First of all, Telegram is easier to work with from a programming perspective. Like getting into their API and working with it is a lot easier for that. And it's a lot more difficult to work with WhatsApp with their API. A lot of people moving over to Telegram, just saying. A lot of people moving over to Telegram. There are also private solutions that people are implementing because they just feel that none of these platforms can be trusted. And it stems from a speech by Benjamin Netanyahu identifying that X and TikTok are at the top of the list as tools for fighting enemies. That ought to tell you something. That ought to tell you something. That's why we have Grow My Bag. I mean, yeah, it's a for-pay platform, but this for-play platform is all about your education in the investment space and nothing else. Nothing else. Now, we are thinking about opening up additional platforms for like general use, but this one is just for investing. Just for investing. Now, something else that happened, Tether's been snatching up gold all over the place. Without a mandate, without any regulation, they've just been buying gold like bonkers. In Q4 2025, Tether added 27 metric tons of gold to its reserves, outpacing central banks and becoming a top global buyer. I want you to stop and think about this, and I don't think a lot of people have. Tether's making moves like countries make moves, outpacing central banks. Not to say that they're the size of a central bank, but they're the size of a central bank and larger than some countries. And last time I checked, they were like still number 16 for holding U.S. debt. Yeah. Just saying. I pay attention to what Tether is doing because Tether makes moves that are opening the door for them to actually increase their revenue streams. Pretty doggone good business. I wish I could buy stock. Just saying. Satoshi Kusama's shocking return. Yeah, no, not a shocking return. Shiba Inu's Satoshi Kusama ended a 13-month silence on January 27th, hinting at an AI project rather than traditional crypto discussions. His cryptic message referenced a 2025 AI paper predicting systemic collapse, claiming his undisclosed technology may have averted it. SHIB's price remained stable. That's it. So he's teasing something, and that something could wind up being big. We'll see what it is. That's all we can say is we'll see what it is. On Tuesday, today, security firm Slow Mist warned of a critical vulnerability in Claudebot. Claudebot's that new AI software that basically you run on your machine and it can do whatever you want for you, right? It's basically your assistant. But it was created and made for you to actually go close all of the security holes. It was done on purpose. Be very careful. Unless you know what you're doing, I'm not so sure that you should be mucking around with Claudebot. Because what you're doing is you're giving Claudebot access to a lot of different things, and that's a huge, I don't know about that. If you don't know how to set up guardrails, you shouldn't be playing with Claudebot. You should call a professional, like me and my team. That's what you should be thinking about. But read up on it. It opens up, as soon as you install it, it opens up a bunch of huge vulnerabilities. And if you're not up on how to close those vulnerabilities and address those concerns, then you shouldn't be playing with it. Hyperliquid's HIP-3 or HIP-3 framework hit an all-time high with $790 million in open interest yesterday. And that's huge. Hyperliquid is in the game, and I'm telling you, don't sleep on Hyperliquid. Don't sleep on Aster. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately in whatever you're interested in. A business, real estate, crypto, stocks, bonds, options, treasuries, whatever. Pay attention. Do your own research. Start there. Use the GMB3 to create a solid foundation so that you understand how a particular investment vehicle is operating and how you might be able to win or lose. Yeah, I also want to know when I make an investment, I also want to know how I'm going to lose, because that helps you avoid it. There's my morning squirrel. Every morning he comes jetting across. Just saying. He goes out, looks for groceries, comes back home. And, they bury their groceries and all that good stuff. In 2023, Coinbase established a quantum security advisory board with experts like Dan Boneb. Is it Boneb? Or Dan Bona, Dustin Drake, while Ethereum unveiled a 10-year plan to replace EC DSA-based accounts by 2036. I hope they do it sooner. Quantum computing is coming. But here's the thing, though. It's sort of like the millennium bug. You don't know if it's really going to affect you or not. That's really the issue. People are guessing that there's going to be effect, but they're kind of like, maybe it'll affect us, maybe it won't. We don't know yet. We're going to have to sit back and wait. Axie Infinity's AXS token experienced a significant recovery since January 1st, with a price increase exceeding 270%, driven by strategic token economic adjustments such as BAXS mechanism and cessation of SLP rewards. These changes alleviated selling pressure. That's a good thing, but they're still so far off from their all-time highs. So far off. However, gaming's never going to go away. And the metaverse, I'm telling you, the metaverse is going to be a big deal. Whether you choose to believe it or not, the metaverse is going to be huge. It will be huge. China's Moonshot AI, backed by Alibaba, unveiled its advanced Kimi 2.5 model. The Kimi 2 model was awesome. The Kimi 2.5 model is looking to be better than that. And it goes right up against everybody else. The reason why I bring this up is because you can run Kimi 2 locally. Remember I was talking to you about that 5-box array and all that kind of stuff? Yeah. It can be run like that and produce similar results. So remember when last night when we were talking about OpenAI is looking into snagging a piece of whatever discovery you use, or whatever discovery you come up with when you use ChatGPT. Kimi 2 is one of those things. Kimi 2, DeepSeek, Qwen 3, and a whole bunch of others that you can run locally. That's the response to something like that. That could literally, with everything that OpenAI is doing to try to make money, this is something that can push companies over the edge and say, we don't need you. We don't need you. There are other localized models or other models that can be run locally that can do as good or better than what you have. Why do we need you? Sure, you might have more polish on your package because ChatGPT isn't just the LLM. It's the LLM and a whole bunch of services tacked onto it. And that's what adds the polish. Don't need it if you're running it locally. You really don't need it. You really don't need it. I'm telling you. And companies are saying, hey, look, listen, we're not spending that kind of money. Not only are we not spending that kind of money, but we're not going to give you a chunk of our findings. And there are recipes out there for creating your own models. There are recipes out there for you training existing models. That's right. So you start to realize, yeah, OpenAI's business model has a flaw, and they could be identifying their flaw to the whole world, and not for nothing with their current moves, that could actually push people away from them instead of toward them. So remember that whole cyclical thing, that whole circle jerk that's going on, the cyclical trade? NVIDIA, AI, OpenAI, AMD, Intel, Oracle, and just that whole area. It's all a circle. Everybody's connected. All you need is OpenAI to fail. And then what do you get? You'll get a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of companies that are moving with different AIs, still getting the benefit of AI, using it for the solutions that they actually need, not having to pay anything to anyone. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. So yeah, pay attention to what's going on out there. Let's see, what else? There seems to be a digital payment surge in Saudi Arabia and Nigeria. Those aren't the only countries that are having digital payment surges. Look around the world. Do your research around the world. Because we've been talking about it. Do your research around the world. You're going to start to see, holy moly, there are a lot of places that are talking about digital payments. And when you talk about digital payments, don't think it's just fiat. Don't think it's just fiat, because it's not. Anyway, you know what we should do? That's right. We should get into the numbers. So let's go do this. Let me get my notes out of the way. You know how we like to start. Let's get over here. Dow futures implied open 128 points down. S&P futures implied open 20 points down. NASDAQ futures implied open 20 points up for S&P futures. NASDAQ futures up to 177.5. Oil up 0.03. US 10-year up 0.006. That's what we're looking at right there. And this story right here, this one, you should be paying attention to that. You should be the mother of all deals, because it highlights the fact that the United States, since he's been in office, the United States has only had 2 deals, and they've been with very small countries, Cambodia being one. Oops. This is a huge deal, and we should be paying attention to it. The IMF said that, Europe needs to get their act together. This is one of the steps that moves them toward getting their act together. Just saying. Companies coming out today. Let's see. United Healthcare Group. UPS had good numbers. Their stock went up like 3% already today. And these are the rest of the companies that are coming out with their numbers supposedly today as well. HCA Healthcare is something I'm paying attention to. Union Pacific is something I'm paying attention to. Just saying. There are opportunities. You want to pay attention to these opportunities. Do the research that you need to do. Understand your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. That's the way you've got to do it. Now, what else do we have? Let's see. Tuesday, yeah, consumer confidence, Case Shiller. Nobody's paying attention except to the FOMC tomorrow, and then Thursday, you got some initial jobless claims and all this good stuff. Thursday is when they take that first vote or when they're supposed to take that first vote on the budget. All eyes are gonna be on that. The FOMC, not as many eyes. Why? Because nobody's expecting them to do anything. They expect it to stay set, just not increase, not decrease, just stay right where we are. Fear and greed index is at 29. We were at 20 yesterday. DeFi Llama, we're still at $119.276 billion. That's no change from yesterday. No change from yesterday. That's crazy. Let's move this over here so you can see where we are. Look at that. We're consolidating right here. And the floor is all the way down here at 82,490. We have to get back above 93,434. That's where we need to be. That's absolutely where we need to be, is above that number. If we can get above that number, we're in a good place. If we have to get above that number. Let's see. Let's look at this. Yeah, you have a few things that are up. That news that I gave you over Hyperliquid, that's big news. And hence, it's up a lot. Just saying, pay attention to opportunities. Hyperliquid is a heavy hitter. It's a heavy hitter platform. Pay attention to it. BTC, ETH, XRP, BCH, Solana, if you're into that kind of thing, LTC, SUI, AVAX, ADA, BNB, this new one, Con, I am looking at it. Hype, XMR, of course, XMR, come on, seriously. Doge, SHIB, Link. Let's see, who else is there? Zebek, if you're into it, it's up a little bit. Hype, of course. HBAR is another one that I always keep a hand on. Uni, Aave, Link is one of my favorite things to have, and it's a part of my DCA strategy. Just saying. Let's see who's doing well and not well. Yeah, Ethereum's still down below year-to-date wise. Nothing really popping off over here. Let's see. Let's take a look at the crypto tracker. Come on, let's go. Chop, chop. All right, let's take a look at the losers first. Yeah, Render is down 5.15% with a GMB X factor of 6.43. Excuse me, I'm not paying attention to anything else, but I will say, look at this. That means everybody else is moving sideways on this list, when you're looking at it from the downside. Looking at it from the top side, and it's the same thing. Because here's my 5% rule right here, at lighter, and that's it. Everybody else is moving laterally, sideline, like barely moving. They're not meeting the 5% rule up. They're not meeting the 5% rule down. Pump.fun is up 24%, 24.69, and with a GMB X factor of 1.81. Hyperliquid is up 24.34 with a GMB X factor of 1.14. They're far away from where they were, but if you've been paying attention to this coin, you can make money on the ups and downs. Just saying. Then you've got, let's see, anybody else I'm paying attention to? Yeah, that's right. Zcash, ZEC, is up 8.06% with a GMB X factor 7.41. Yeah, there's nobody else I'm interested in. You immediately go to everybody moving sideways. Just saying. Pay attention to the opportunities that are available to you. Always do your own research. Always know your entries and exits. And always absolutely invest deliberately. That's the GMB3. Practice that. Your first investment is in yourself, and you're going to need to invest in order to survive. Don't believe me? Buy my book. You'll see. Buy one of my books. Buy both of my books. You'll see what I'm talking about. They don't tell you what to do. They give you foundational knowledge on one book, and on the other book, it teaches you how to apply the GMB3 to a lot of aspects of your general life, especially when it comes to investment. Can really help you with reading people too. Just saying. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you enjoy what I'm doing. If you do me a favor, smash the likes, tell your friends about us. And if you can, go to GrowMyBag.tv, become a member. Why? Because membership comes with benefits. It comes with benefits, and you guys are about to see a hell of a lot more benefits. Everybody, this is Eddie J on Crypto. I'll be back tonight for the overflow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you enjoy yourselves.